along St. Paul and you look up, also think about how this is enclosed, where the walk zone was, and the dimensions between all those areas that creates a lot of unique layers, and an area that most pedestrians enjoy hanging out, as you'll see when you're here. There are different types of public spaces that you'll experience. Some I think are more successful than others. I'd like to hear what you have to say. How is this defined? Is it legible? And does it feel inviting to you? And the bigger question is, are there any people here? Once you're down at the Riverwalk, turn around, take a look back. Interesting accessibility issues, materials. You can count all the different ways you can sit in this space and along the road. As you walk along the Riverwalk, there'll be different ways to sit, and I'd like you to take a guess. What's the right height to be comfortable for sitting or leaning? There'll be a couple variations, but not a lot. It's also a barrier, not just a place to sit. This part of the Riverwalk is unique because it separates you actually from the land. This is designed by Mary Miss, and she wanted to incorporate various educational elements. You'll see straight ahead there's different numbers. Sometimes it's how wide the river is, sometimes it's the depth. This is also a unique walk at night. Just look at the different barriers and different experiences, from plants to benches to the railings. You'll head up the stairs to take a look at the street, how it dead ends. Thinking about stairs are not just stairs, right? Somewhat sculptural. You could sit here and watch the river. It's more engaging the wider it is. Each of the streets that terminates into the river has a unique way of embracing public space. Some are more successful than others. You can note that there's no curb. Outdoor dining is expanded here. Currently, normally they don't have outdoor dining here, but it's an area for drop-off. And if you want, you can go take a look at the public art. This is one of the sculptural elements. It's basically a lookout. The other thing to look at is the various ways they deal with the stairs, the ramping, and accessibility. More seating options, as well as barriers, landscaping, making sure the walk zone is clear and defined. How are things artistic along the way? Another thing to note, materials, textures, patterns. Another way to embrace the water's edge. At this point you'll be turning left and walking back into the 3rd Ward and crossing Water Street. Take a look how this feels very different than the first one on Buffalo. Very different and more car-centric. River design is also about how the buildings meet the street, and you can see here at Water in Chicago how they embrace more the corner with the glass. This is a parking structure, mixed use, with retail on the ground floor. The western edge is a little bit more successful. You'll see as you walk along the northern facade, it's horizontal but not as pedestrian friendly. One of the challenges, as we've already discussed, is maintenance. So you can use unique patterns, materials, brick, but you want to make sure that you have the budget to maintain them, as well as where the trees meet the sidewalk. Not the most attractive. How would you improve it? One thing that is unique about the 3rd Ward are the old warehouse buildings. All of them step up to get to the ground floor, and you either step up inside the building or outside of the building. In this case, it's inside, which creates a little bit of a challenge of where the windows start. What does it feel like? So think about that as you walk past several of the buildings. What does that base feel like? They're integrating outdoor seating, which is creating quite a narrow walk zone. With good buffering, good layer of parking. Before you get to Broadway, as you pass the alley, turn around and take a look at how they turn the corner with the windows to activate this section of the alley. Light washes out at night, so during the day it feels a little bit more engaging. Unique signage. Guidelines require projecting signs. Just take a look at, again, how the base is created along the pedestrian walk zone. Seating is incorporated at some of the corners, along with the bollards to create a barrier. The new Kimpton Hotel. Take a look at the architecture, base, middle, top. And across the street you'll see the steps are on the outside of that building. This is the corner of Chicago and Broadway. Broadway is unique in many different ways. It's the most active street here in the 3rd Ward. Very wide sidewalks, 20 to 25 feet. You can see the bike parking here. And the most unique character is the middle parking, which slows the traffic. And Rachel will explore more of this in her snapshot. And they have their own unique lighting and banners from anywhere else in the city. Again, another element of urban design. Another unique element is the integrated seating in the middle of the street. In most cases, this would not feel comfortable to pedestrians, but because it is buffered by landscaping, bollards, and the parking, it feels quite comfortable. In a normal time, this would be really quite busy during lunch and most of the afternoon. Before you get to the bridge, you'll take a right to go down back to the Riverwalk. This is behind Myad. Has a unique element, layers, and experience. Turn and walk under the bridge. Again, another unique experience. Continue walking east. You'll see again the numbers and education elements. And continue walking down to Trestle Park. On your left is HGA Architects. You have the old Trestle Bridge and future development in the Harbor District. You'll notice another height for seating and some of the historical elements related to the ships and their tie-offs. Another thing you want to always incorporate into your urban design is a nod to the past as well as to the future. There are many different ways to deal with parking, accessing underground parking. You notice this is a court. One thing we'll talk about during your design phase is parking access, garbage collection, all the necessities that we'd rather not think about but are important for a successful project. Continue walking east to Trestle Park. Take a look at the landscaping, the layers, and the plantings. This is Trestle Park, designed by Jim Shields, HGA. It's a nod to the historical location where the rail used to cross over the river. This trestle bridge doesn't work currently, but used to swing and connect this section of 3rd Ward to the Harbor District. Look at the materials, the plantings, seating, and your views, of course. Walk north on Jefferson Street and you'll look at different ways that they are screening parking. As you walk north on Jefferson, pause in the middle of the block and just look at the differences between the two sides of the street and the building design. How does that impact the urban design character? You can continue walking north on Jefferson and take a look at this parking lot again. Nice job with the screening, planting, and fence, as well as the trees. Very strange not to see this filled with cars. This is the other parking structure that serves the 3rd Ward. Again, mixed use. Retail, which is a restaurant on the ground floor. Signature corner, again lit up, all glass. Sometimes they have a sculptural element in the corner as well. Not your typical parking structure. As you cross Milwaukee Street, take a look at the small median that was added several years ago. It's ornamental. It's supposed to slow traffic. What do you think? So continue walking west on Chicago back to Broadway and take a look at the views and the change of topography and the stair access. So normally filled with people, take a look at this walk zone. Imagine the chairs are here. There's wait staff. How does this work? Definitely activates the street. As you walk along Broadway, also look at the building entrances. Some are at the corner. In this case, no ADA accessibility, right? Some are at ground level. Walk upstairs when you're in the building. And again, a corner. This is a unique way to screen the parking and the access. Look at the enclosure of the sidewalk to create a space, unique. And then ultimately, the connection to downtown. And how successful is this seating space compared to the others along Broadway? Also, consider your views. This is a strong connection to downtown. They're the long views, not just the short views.